if everything we thought we knew about ancient human history was wrong? Stop thinking about dusty land-based ruins and desert pyramids for a moment. Instead, imagine something far more profound. Entire, advanced cities, whole civilizations, swallowed by the crushing dark ocean. They are sitting down there right now, holding secrets that could completely shatter our established timelines. This is the reality we're facing. Forget conventional archaeology. The most groundbreaking sites aren't on Earth's surface, they are beneath it. Prepare to have your mind blown as we explore incredible submerged structures and artifacts that suggest the technological and architectural capabilities of ancient cultures were far, far beyond what any textbook currently suggests. This isn't just a fascinating mystery, it is literally rewriting the human story from the deepest parts of our planet. For centuries, tales like Plato's famous account of Atlantis have been dismissed as nothing more than beautiful cautionary myths, bedtime stories about a powerful civilization lost to the sea. But what if those myths weren't fiction? What if they were incredibly accurate, deeply rooted historical memories, waiting for modern technology to finally catch up? The truth is, we've only explored a fraction of our own oceans. But thanks to a technological revolution that is finally changing. Rapid advancements in underwater imaging, things like powerful multi-beam sonar, high-definition ROVs, and advanced seismic profilers are giving us the ability to peel back the veil of the seafloor like never before. We can now map features with breathtaking precision, identifying geometric patterns, walls, and structures that nature simply does not create. Today, we are no longer tracking fantasy. We are tracking science, geology, and undeniable evidence. So the ultimate question we must ask ourselves is, could these long-forgotten myths of cities swallowed by the sea be rooted in astonishing historical truths waiting for us? Dive with us now as we begin our unprecedented journey into the deep. Our global search for submerged secrets brings us now to a place deeply intertwined with faith and mythology. The ancient coastline of Gujarat, India. This is the fabled location of Dwarka, the legendary golden city of Lord Krishna. The ancient Hindu epic, the Mahabharata, vividly narrates how this powerful metropolis, upon Krishna's departure, was violently and rapidly swallowed by the rising sea. For millennia, this narrative was relegated to religious scripture, a powerful metaphor, but not actual history. That perception began to change dramatically in the late 1980s. A team led by the renowned marine archaeologist Dr. S.R. Rao began systematic exploration in the deep, turbid waters off the modern town of Dwarka and the adjacent Gulf of Combat. They were not looking for Krishna's palace. They were simply looking for anomalies. What they found was far from anomalous. Divers, navigating near-zero visibility and sophisticated side-scan sonar systems, began detecting immense, organized structures. We are not talking about random piles of rubble. We are seeing evidence of man-made urban planning on a staggering scale. Imagine walking, or rather swimming, above what appear to be meticulously laid-out streets, defensive fortification walls, and foundations suggesting multi-story buildings. The most compelling finds included large stone blocks and what appear to be massive circular pillar bases, neatly arranged in sequences and lines that defy natural formation. The evidence was physical. Archaeologists recovered thousands of artifacts. These weren't treasures, they were the detritus of daily life. Pottery shards, tools, and pieces of what appeared to be structural components, all providing direct material proof of human occupation. But it was the material used to date the site that truly ignited the global debate. In 2001, a monumental announcement was made regarding the findings in the Gulf of Combat. Organic materials, including wood fragments found deeply embedded within the alleged city foundations, were subjected to rigorous carbon-14 testing across multiple international laboratories. The results were consistent, sending a seismic shockwave through the historical establishment. The site was dated to approximately 7,500 BCE. That is 9,500 years ago. This date is not merely old, it is revolutionary. For decades, the timeline of complex civilization has been anchored by sites like Sumer and ancient Egypt, emerging around 3500 to 3000 BCE. The Dwarka findings, if proven conclusively to be a built city, would push back the widely accepted beginning of large-scale planned urban societies by a colossal 5 millennia. It suggests that advanced engineering, organized labor, and perhaps even early forms of complex writing or navigation existed on the Indian subcontinent at the very moment the rest of the world was believed to be dominated by small, nomadic hunter-gatherer groups. A claim this bold faces intense scrutiny, and the academic community remains sharply divided. Skeptics raise valid questions, primarily centered on geology. They argue that the Gulf of Combat is an area of high geological activity. Strong ocean currents, they claim, can naturally erode or deposit rock formations in ways that mimic geometry. Furthermore, they question the provenance of the dated wood samples, suggesting they might be naturally occurring driftwood that simply settled among natural rock formations rather than being structural elements of a civilization. Yet, the defenders of Dwarka are equally passionate. They point not just to the straight lines, but to the repetitive organized sequences of the finds. They highlight the discovery of a massive, semicircular outer wall that spans several miles, a scale difficult to explain away as natural erosion. They argue that the consistency of the C14 dates across various labs and different artifacts strengthens the case for genuine human occupation prior to the massive sea level rise that occurred after the last ice age. The submerged secrets of Dwarka force us to look beyond established dogma. Whether ultimately classified as the world's oldest city or a geological marvel, the site presents undeniable, compelling evidence of human activity, complex organization, and an extraordinary event, the vanishing beneath the waves, all aligning perfectly with one of the world's most enduring myths. It stands as our first powerful proof that the ocean floor holds keys that could unlock a radically different understanding of humanity's past. From the ancient, legendary coasts of India, we travel now to the Far East, to the remote Japanese island of Yonaguni, the westernmost inhabited point of the nation. It is here we encounter perhaps the most fiercely debated, visually stunning, and geometrically perplexing submerged secret on Earth, the Yonaguni Monument, or Yonaguni submarine topography. Unlike Dwarka, which was found through deliberate scientific effort, the Yonaguni Monument was discovered by pure chance in 1986. A local dive tour operator, seeking new spots for hammerhead sharks, stumbled upon a structure of breathtaking scale and form. A colossal, tiered structure that rose from the seabed, unlike any natural formation he had ever seen. Word quickly spread, and the world's attention turned to this underwater enigma. The core of the mystery lies in its sheer geometry. Imagine a monument towering over 25 meters tall and stretching over 150 meters long. The structure is characterized by features that appear remarkably artificial: terraces, straight walls, sharp right angles, and massive, flat steps that look carved by giant hands. One section even resembles a massive stepped pyramid rising from the ocean floor. Divers and researchers, most notably Dr. Masaki Kimura, have documented compelling details that seem impossible for nature alone to create. We see parallel cutting marks, deep, narrow grooves that look like quarrying paths, and even what some interpret as crude carvings, including possible depictions of animals or symbols. Furthermore, there are large, circular depressions and precisely carved holes that suggest a level of ancient engineering that simply shouldn't exist according to our current history books. However, this is where the fierce academic controversy begins. The majority of mainstream geologists argue powerfully that the Yonaguni Monument is, in fact, entirely natural. They point to the composition of the structure. It is bedrock, specifically fine to medium-grained sandstone and mudstone, which is highly susceptible to tectonic movement and wave erosion. The island lies in a seismically active zone. Geologists propose the structure is a textbook example of columnar jointing and horizontal stratification. They argue that massive earthquakes, combined with predictable erosion patterns, especially at the fault lines where the rock fractured, created the seemingly sharp right angles and straight edges. The steps, they contend, are simply the exposed layers of sedimentary rock tilting and eroding symmetrically. But the archaeological minority pushes back hard. Dr. Kimura and his supporters acknowledge the natural properties of the rock, but argue that nature cannot explain the sheer regularity and the context of the finds. They ask, how could nature create a perfect perpendicular wall with a distinct carved corner? How can natural erosion explain the two adjacent circular holes that seem designed for anchoring or positioning? And crucially, they point to the geological timeline. To have been constructed or even significantly modified by humans, this monument must have been above sea level. Geological data confirms that the Yonaguni platform was submerged around 10,000 to 8,000 BCE during the end of the last ice age and the resulting massive sea level rise. If this is a man-made structure, it means a civilization in this region had the means and motivation to engineer monumental structures 12,000 years ago, making it contemporary with or older than Dwarka, and pushing the rise of Japanese culture back by many millennia. This notion completely challenges the established narrative of the Jomon period, which is typically considered Japan's earliest identifiable culture, characterized by simple hunter-gatherer societies. A colossal, stepped structure like Yonaguni implies a culture with surplus food, organized labor, and sophisticated knowledge of stone quarrying and astronomical alignment. A complete paradigm shift for the history of East Asia. The Yonaguni monument remains a magnificent, unsolved riddle. Is it the greatest geological illusion on Earth, a fluke of nature mimicking the work of man? Or is it the forgotten legacy of the architects of the deep, a civilization erased by rising oceans, leaving behind only this silent, submerged testament to their impossible ingenuity? Either way, it demands that we keep our minds and our oceans open to history's most profound secrets. We shift our focus now from monumental structures to an extraordinary geological phenomenon that offers us a completely different kind of submerged secret: the Black Sea. While the discoveries at Dwarka and Yonaguni challenge the timelines of human engineering, the Black Sea challenges the very concept of historical decay. This massive inland sea holds a secret beneath its surface that acts as a natural time capsule. Below a depth of about 150 meters, or 500 feet, the water of the Black Sea is almost entirely anoxic, meaning it lacks oxygen. This stratification is caused by a denser layer of salt water flowing in from the Mediterranean, trapped beneath a less salty layer of fresh water from major rivers. The layers don't mix, and the deep, dark abyss is starved of life-sustaining oxygen. Why is this crucial for history? Because the lack of oxygen means the lack of life. There are no wood-boring worms, no microbial activity, and no chemical processes of oxidation. In a normal ocean environment, an ancient wooden ship would be consumed by organisms and rust within decades. Here, in the Black Sea's anoxic zone, wooden structures, fabric, and even organic materials can be preserved for millennia in a chillingly intact state. The implications for archaeology are astounding. Recent expeditions, notably those led by the Black Sea Maritime Archaeology Project, have delivered unprecedented visual evidence. We're talking about entire fleets of ghost ships resting on the seabed. Shipwrecks from the Byzantine, Ottoman, and earlier classical periods are found with their masts still standing, their rudders still attached, and the carved wooden details as sharp as the day they sank, often 2,000 years ago. These are not just hulls, they are complete snapshots of ancient maritime life. We find cargo like terracotta amphorae, ropes, leather goods, and even the personal effects of the crew, all offering a direct, perfectly preserved window into bygone eras that is simply unavailable anywhere else in the world. The deep Black Sea is truly the ultimate museum of the past. But the secrets of the Black Sea go even deeper than shipwrecks. Geologists hypothesize that about 8,000 years ago, the Black Sea was a much smaller, freshwater lake. As the last ice age ended, rising global sea levels eventually breached a land bridge at the Bosphorus Strait, unleashing a catastrophic flood, a massive surge of Mediterranean saltwater that quickly inundated the entire basin, raising the water level by hundreds of feet and swallowing vast coastal areas and potentially entire settlements. This geological event, a massive, sudden deluge around the period of early Neolithic human settlement, lends extraordinary weight to ancient flood myths found across almost every major culture, most famously the Noah's Ark narrative. Could the perfectly preserved Black Sea shipwrecks and the potential for submerged settlements be a direct, tangible link to the actual geological catastrophes that shaped the earliest memories of human civilization? The Black Sea offers preservation, but more importantly, it offers context for the stories we thought were just legends. We have dived into the depths of Dwarka, examined the perplexing geometry of Yonaguni, and witnessed the preserved past of the Black Sea. Now, we must synthesize this collective evidence and confront the single most challenging conclusion it suggests: that ancient human ingenuity, thousands of years before the pyramids or Roman roads, was far more advanced and capable than our textbooks dared to imagine. Let's return to the sheer scale of the construction. How did a civilization, supposedly existing in a Neolithic or early Bronze Age context, manage to quarry, transport, and perfectly align massive multi-ton stone blocks? We see evidence of precise, straight cuts and smooth finishes, often found in rock that is now deep underwater. To achieve this level of accuracy requires sophisticated tools, organized labor, and a deep understanding of structural engineering, qualities we attribute to much later cultures. Beyond the construction techniques, we find hints of something even more complex: astronomical knowledge. Some researchers studying Yonaguni believe that certain features, the carved observation holes or the orientation of the massive structure, could correspond to the position of the sun during the solstices or equinoxes. This suggests not just building skills, but an ability to track the heavens and integrate celestial cycles into monumental architecture, a hallmark of civilizations like the Maya, but pushed back 10,000 years into prehistory. Perhaps the most critical puzzle is geographical. How did these civilizations thrive in areas that are now hundreds of feet beneath the ocean surface? The answer lies in the dynamic nature of our planet. When the last ice age reached its peak, vast amounts of the world's water were locked up in immense ice sheets. This caused global sea levels to drop drastically, by as much as 400 feet, 120 meters, lower than today. During this period, known as the Pleistocene, vast coastal plains and continental shelves, areas that are incredibly fertile and rich in resources, were exposed land. These were the true cradles of early human civilization. Imagine the coastline of India extending far into the Arabian Sea, or a land bridge connecting the islands of Japan. It was on these now submerged plains that early humans built settlements, perhaps even cities, during a stable climatic window. But as the planet warmed, the ice sheets began to melt in what's known as the Great Melt. The ocean rose, not always gradually, but often through rapid catastrophic surges, as suggested by the Black Sea flood event. These rising tides didn't just flood coastlines, they wiped clean the historical record, displacing or destroying entire societies within a short span of time. What we are finding now, the ruins of Dwarka and Yonaguni, are merely the remnants of civilizations that existed on the edge of that rising ocean. These discoveries demand that we reconsider the narrative of steady, linear progress. They force us to embrace the possibility of complex, ingenious cultures that rose, adapted, and were ultimately erased by immense geological forces. It compels us to shed our modern arrogance and acknowledge the sheer resilience and technological capability of early human societies, even without the tools we rely on today. The secrets below the waves are not just about ancient ruins. They are about correcting our fundamental understanding of who we are and where we truly came from. We began this journey with a challenging question. What if ancient history as we know it was fundamentally wrong? Now, Having witnessed the geometric precision of Yonaguni, the staggering age of Dwarka, and the chilling preservation of the Black Sea, the answer seems undeniably clear. The history we were taught is incomplete. It is the history of the land that survived. The history of the sea has been hidden, silent, until now. The combined evidence from these submerged sites demands more than just a footnote in history books. It requires a wholesale reevaluation of established chronological dogma. We must move past the assumption that civilization began at a fixed point in the Middle East around 5,000 years ago. We must embrace a new model, one where complex, seafaring, and sophisticated societies were flourishing on vast coastal shelves perhaps 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, only to be washed away by the monumental shift of the post-Ice Age world. But what we have discovered so far is merely the surface of the submerged story. The sheer scale of the unexplored ocean is staggering. Over 80% of the world's oceans and the vital continental shelves where these ancient societies existed remain completely unmapped in detail. This vast, silent library of human history stretching across the entirety of our planet is waiting to be read. The future of archaeology is aquatic. New technologies, autonomous underwater vehicles (AUVs) that map the seabed for months on end, advanced LiDAR systems that can penetrate sand and silt, and AI analysis that distinguishes man-made patterns from natural rock formations are accelerating the pace of discovery exponentially. Every year we are diving deeper, seeing clearer, and finding more definitive proof that ancient wonders are not merely myths, but are geological facts awaiting verification. These submerged secrets hold an important lesson in humility. They remind us that our most complex civilizations are built on a planet defined by constant, powerful change. The oceans, once the great highways of commerce and settlement, became the tomb of a forgotten past. And in these ruins, we see ourselves, ingenious, adaptable, but ultimately subject to the colossal forces of nature. The lost architects of Dwarka and the deep-sea engineers of Yonaguni have left us a legacy of challenge, a profound mystery that connects our deepest myths to hard geological science. We must honor their lost societies by continuing the relentless scientific quest to chart, analyze, and understand the history they left behind. Are you ready to witness history being rewritten right before your eyes? This is not just a film, it is an invitation. We stand on the verge of a revolution in history, where the secrets of the deep will redefine the origin of mankind. Join us on this unprecedented journey. Subscribe, share your theories below, and engage with the possibility that the oldest chapters of the human story are only now beginning to emerge from the waves. Keep watching the water. The future of history is submerged.